Imagine walking into a place meant to nurture life, only to be stripped of your dignity in moments. Imagine a woman, radiant with the hope of motherhood, met not with care but with cruel prejudice. Imagine the unstoppable force of a man who refuses to let injustice stand. This is a story of resilience, retribution, and the power of standing tall against wrong. Welcome to the Jones Life Stories, where we share narratives that ignite change and inspire courage. Before we dive in, drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Our global community loves to connect. And don't forget to hit that like button, share this story, and subscribe to the Jones Life Stories for more tales that uplift and empower. It was a soft spring morning in Atlanta, where sunlight filtered through magnolia trees and the air hummed with quiet promise. Eastbrook Women's Medical Center stood at the corner of Juniper and Pontolian, a gleaming monument of glass and marble, its silence bought by wealth. Inside, leather chairs gleamed, floral arrangements defied imperfection, and the air conditioning whispered luxury. Danielle Carter paused outside the entrance, one hand cradling her 6-month pregnant belly, the other adjusting her worn tote bag. Her blue maternity dress, simple yet graceful, hugged her frame, her deep brown skin glowing in the morning light. She was a vision of maternal strength, but as she neared the glass doors, passing white couples cast sharp, fleeting glances. The receptionist inside barely looked up, her eyes returning to her screen as if Danielle were invisible. Danielle took a deep breath, masking the familiar ache of being unseen. "All right, baby," she whispered, rubbing her belly. "Let's get this checkup done. Daddy's coming soon." Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed fatigue. Ethan, her husband, had been called into an emergency at the U.S. District Office. He promised to meet her by 10:30 for their first 4D scan, a milestone, a glimpse of their child's face. But at 10:17, she stood alone. The automatic doors hissed open, the lobby's polished silence swallowing her steps. The blonde receptionist, mid-20s with a practiced smile, barely acknowledged her. "Good morning," Danielle said, her tone polite but firm, honed from years of proving her place. "Danielle Carter, I have a 10:30 with Dr. Halbert." The receptionist's gaze lingered too long, laced with quiet judgment. "You're here for Dr. Halbert?" she asked, as if the name were misspoken. Danielle nodded, her smile faltering. "Yes, scheduled 2 weeks ago, confirmed last night." A pause. "I see," the woman said, sliding a clipboard across the desk like it was a favor. "Fill this out." Danielle sat, feeling the room's weight. Women with designer handbags whispered across from her, one clutching her bag tighter as if Danielle threatened it. An older man avoided her gaze entirely. She filled out the forms with perfect penmanship, her fingers trembling slightly. "This is for the baby," she told herself. "You're here for your child." But without Ethan, the room felt colder, the glances heavier. At 10:43, a nurse called her name, her expression as sterile as the hallway. Framed portraits of white mothers and newborns lined the walls, and Danielle wondered if anyone like her had ever been in those brochures. In exam room 3B, she sat on the bed, smoothing her dress, checking her phone. Ethan was late. The room smelled of antiseptic and lavender, a false calm over something rotten. The door clicked open, and Dr. Lindsay Halbert entered, blonde hair in a tight bun, white coat pristine, gray eyes cold as steel. She didn't greet Danielle or offer a handshake. She stared, the silence stretching into something personal, judgmental. "So, you're Danielle Carter?" Dr. Halbert's voice dripped condescension. Danielle straightened. "Yes, good morning. I believe we're doing the 4D scan today." Dr. Halbert's eyes raked over her, not like a doctor but like a critic judging an unworthy subject. "You came alone," she said, as if it were a crime. "My husband had an emergency at work. He's on his way." A smirk ghosted the doctor's lips. "Of course," she murmured, shuffling papers with theatrical precision. Then her tone sharpened, cutting like a blade. "Let me guess, you don't know who the father is, or maybe he decided this morning he'd had enough responsibility." "Typical." Danielle's breath caught. "Excuse me." Dr. Halbert turned, eyes narrowed. "Look, Miss Carter, this isn't some public clinic. This is a specialized facility for expectant mothers who care about their health and their child's future, not women who show up unaccompanied, looking like they rolled out of a bus station. Danielle stood, fists clenched. I scheduled this appointment. I confirmed it. I came here respectfully. The doctor stepped closer, her voice a low hiss. You people are always respectful when you want something. Then you bring drama, disruption, accusations. Not today. Not in my facility. Danielle's heart pounded, her voice shaking but steady. I'm leaving. I don't have to be insulted. Oh, you're not going anywhere, Dr. Halbert sneered, glancing at the counter. My watch, Cartier Platinum Band. I set it here this morning. Her eyes locked on Danielle's. And now it's gone. Danielle froze. I didn't take anything. I've had enough charity cases walk in here and walk out with more than they came with, the doctor snapped. Security will be here shortly. Don't make this harder. Before Danielle could respond, Dr. Halbert was gone, the door clicking shut. Alone, Danielle stared at the floor, disbelief mixing with panic. She reached for her phone, but footsteps approached. Measured, deliberate, like a verdict. 2 security officers entered, both white, both expressionless. The older one, holding a clipboard, spoke first. Miss Carter, we've had a report of missing property. Dr. Halbert has identified you as a person of interest. Come with us. I haven't taken anything, Danielle said, her voice trembling. This is a mistake. We'll sort that out downstairs, the younger officer said, chewing gum with disdain. Explain yourself in the security office. I'm pregnant, she said. I don't feel safe being escorted like this. I need to call my husband. You'll have your chance, the older one muttered. After we're done. They led her through back corridors, past locked cabinets and bleach-scented air, to a small security room with a flickering fluorescent light and a bolted plastic chair. Sit, the younger officer ordered. Danielle hesitated, then sat, her hands trembling on her belly. Please, she said. I need to call my husband. Hand over the phone, the younger officer barked. She placed it on the desk. He snatched it, turned it off, and slid it into a drawer. We're holding it until this is resolved. You can't just. You're not under arrest, the older one said, but you're being detained for investigation. Cooperate. This is wrong, Danielle said, her voice growing steely. I came here for my baby. I've done nothing wrong. You don't get to treat me like a criminal. The younger officer smirked. Save the performance. You want sympathy. Wrong place. Her lip trembled, but she swallowed her scream, her body aching as the baby shifted. She counted her breaths, shielding herself against panic. The officers didn't question her. They kept her there, isolating her, because they could. Minutes crawled. Danielle imagined Ethan walking through the clinic's doors, asking for her, his eyes narrowing as he sensed something wrong. She clung to that certainty. At the front desk, Ethan Carter stepped through the glass doors, his polished shoes clicking on marble. His charcoal suit was tailored, the gold lapel pin of the Department of Justice gleaming. Tall, composed, his dark mahogany skin contrasted with the sterile lobby. His presence drew cautious glances, but his eyes stayed locked ahead. Good morning, he said to the receptionist, his voice deep and authoritative. I'm looking for Danielle Carter. She had a 10:30 with Dr. Halbert. I'm her husband. The receptionist froze, fingers hovering over the keyboard. 1 moment, sir. Let me check. She squinted at the screen. She's not in the exam room. Where is she? Ethan's tone was firmer, commanding. She's downstairs in the security office. A misunderstanding, I think. Dr. Halbert. I need to see her. Now. He leaned forward. Take me there, or call someone who will. I'll get the floor manager. No need. Ethan pulled out a leather wallet, revealing a federal badge. Deputy Director, Office of Civil Rights Enforcement. The receptionist's breath hitched. He held it for 3 seconds, then pocketed it. Where's the security office? She stammered. Down the hall, past the staff elevator, first door on the left. Ethan walked, stride sharp, fingers curled tight. He didn't rush, but the tension in his shoulders screamed urgency. Through a nondescript door, he reached a gray one, slightly ajar, voices muffled. He pushed it open. Inside, Danielle sat rigid, hands on her belly, her expression a mix of fear and fury. Ethan, she gasped. He moved to her, resting a hand on her shoulder. I'm here. It's over. He turned to the officers. Explain why you've illegally detained my wife without due cause, without counsel, and without her property. The younger one straightened, stepping back, the older one's eyes narrowed. Can we help you? Yes, Ethan said, voice unyielding. I want the name of who ordered this, the report authorizing it, and all surveillance footage involving my wife. Now. Danielle's eyes closed, a tear falling, not from weakness but relief. The older officer nodded stiffly, cueing footage. Monitors flickered, showing Danielle entering the exam room, calm, polite, never touching the counter. At 10:52, Dr. Halbert exited, glancing at a tray, touching her wrist, then storming out. The tray held a Cartier watch. Freeze it, Ethan said. Zoom in. The image sharpened, revealing the watch. She left it behind, Danielle whispered. Roll forward, Ethan instructed. A cleaning attendant entered, untouched the tray, and left. The watch remained. Then the footage cut out. Where's the rest? Ethan asked sharply. A blind spot in the handoff, the officer admitted, sweating. Convenient, Ethan murmured. He opened the drawer, retrieved Danielle's phone, and handed it to her. Detaining my wife without due process is a civil rights violation. Denying her medical autonomy while pregnant is reckless endangerment. I'm filing complaints with the DOJ and submitting a public incident report to the licensing board today. Prepare your statements. The officers were silent, the weight of federal retaliation heavy. Danielle rose, shaky but taller, lifted by Ethan's protection. I want to go upstairs, she said. I want to see that doctor again. Ethan nodded. Let's go. The elevator opened to the top floor, every eye turning to Danielle and Ethan. His presence cut through the sterile calm like a warning bell. Danielle walked behind him, no longer shaken but centered, her chin lifted. A uniformed administrator waited outside a glass conference room, tense. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, he stammered. Dr. Halbert is inside. We've convened the ethics board for review. Ethan nodded. Let's start. Inside, a glass table stretched under bright lights. 3 board members sat at one end, visibly unsettled. Dr. Halbert sat at the far side, lips pursed, arms crossed, her confidence cracking. Danielle sat opposite. Ethan stood, badge visible. The board chair cleared his throat. We've reviewed footage, Mr. Carter. You wish to file formal action. Ethan placed papers on the table, typed, signed, timestamped. My wife was falsely accused of theft, illegally detained, denied communication, and humiliated while under your care. Footage proves the theft never occurred. We have audio of racially charged comments by your physician. Dr. Halbert scoffed. This is absurd. I followed protocol. You assumed. Ethan cut in, based on her appearance, not facts. The color of her skin, not her behavior. Danielle spoke, her voice clear. You saw me as disposable. Not a teacher, a wife, a mother-to-be. You saw a problem. You humiliated me for existing in a space I had every right to be in. Dr. Halbert's eyes narrowed. That's not how it happened. Danielle's voice stayed steady. You said I was abandoned, looked like I came from a bus station. You called me a thief before you spoke to me as a human. Silence fell. The board members shifted uncomfortably. Ethan stepped forward. Dr. Halbert's actions are actionable. We're pursuing federal civil rights litigation. We demand a public apology, institutional reform, mandatory anti-bias training, and her immediate suspension. The board chair's voice cracked. We'll begin proceedings immediately. Dr. Halbert stood, knocking her chair off balance, and stormed out. No one stopped her. That week, the clinic issued a statement acknowledging the incident. Dr. Halbert was placed on indefinite leave, and a review of patient rights procedures began. Danielle received vindication, but she didn't stop there. 2 weeks later, she stood at a podium outside the clinic, flanked by Ethan and civil rights advocates. Reporters gathered, microphones forward. She spoke with purpose. This isn't just about me. It's about every Black woman assumed to be less. It's about systems that let that assumption go unchecked. We deserve better. We will not be quiet, afraid, or disappear to make you comfortable. The crowd applauded, a silent thunder of agreement. Ethan stood beside her, pride etched in his face. Danielle looked at her belly, smiling, not because everything was fixed, but because change had begun. This story reminds us that no matter how heavy the weight of injustice feels, your voice, your strength, and your resolve can shift the world. Stand tall, speak truth, and never let anyone dim your light. You are powerful beyond measure, and your story matters. Keep shining, keep fighting, and keep believing in the change you can create. Join the Jones Life Stories. If this story moved you, hit that like button to show your support. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message of resilience. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to start your day with profound lessons and heartfelt empathy. Together, we're building a community that uplifts and inspires. Let's keep the stories alive